Welcome to Gaming Politics, where gamers talk politics. I am Matthew Admiral Joker Maciejewski, joined by Chris Carty Kovacs
What's going on, guys?
and Jerrid Foils.
Hey, hey.
Now, this week, the biggest topic is probably the State of the Union address.
We should actually give an acknowledgement to the fact that Deanna isn't here tonight.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yes, Deanna sadly isn't here tonight, which is pretty sad for us because we're probably going to argue quite a bit on this episode
This
more
pod,
than we have
this
in any
pod,
of the previous ones.
this podcast is such a sausage fest.
Yes. I actually told my wife that earlier. She's like, I'm like, yeah, this episode is going to be a complete sausage fest tonight. And she's looking at me like, what the hell? So, yeah, if you're looking for Deanna tonight, you may want to skip this episode. But I wouldn't advise it because it's probably going to be really good.
Right? Yeah.
And no angry black man this week.
Nope. He's not really a recurring character. He's just, well, I don't know.
Special guest star.
Maybe recurring every so often if he just happens to be here on a Monday night.
Perfect. Anyways, we're going to talk about the State of the Union address. We're going to try to hit as much of it as we can. So if we skip anything, anyone who wants to hear about our or hear any commentary on anything, let us know in the comments, please. So Obama started off by talking about several various things, but the biggest thing I took note of was he took a nice good dig at the shutdown. That was the first thing he mentioned.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah, he
did.
got that dig in real good. Yeah, dig that knife in there. Just dig it in. Yeah, he loved to bring that up. Ironically, he only brought it up, I think, that one time, so I will give him credit.
Right.
So we'll give him that. But I think the one thing that was important to me was he was talking about rebuilding America's trust. Not just for him, but for the government as a whole. Now, I don't know. Do you guys believe that or not?
I'm sorry, one more time.
He wants to rebuild America's trust in the government, in both the executive and the legislative branch, and I'm sure the judicial branch as well. Do you think he's really honest about that, or do you think he really doesn't give a crap?
No, I think he is honest, but I think, and this actually goes right along with, this is actually the overall tone of the entire speech. What we're seeing is the return of naive Obama. You might have seen him in at the beginning of his first term, whenever he starts office and he's got these pie in the sky dreams. Oh, I'm gonna do so much, and I'm gonna bring Congress together. Da 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 da. And then and then fast forward a few years later, and you find out, and then he finds out, oh man, this is a lot harder than I thought. And I think that's what we're seeing now is he once again wants to bring he wants to bring everybody together, but it's all I gotta say is Barack, good luck to you, man. You've got an uphill battle. Yeah, hard road ahead of you.
We hear that a lot from we've heard this with George W. Bush as well. Obama said this in previous State of the Unions, but I think this time it's more important than before because Congress really is divided, or Congress and the executive branch are really divided at this point.
Oh yeah,
I mean nothing can get done practically. We're at the same position we've been in since the Democrats took over Congress when during Bush's second term.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're at the same impasse we've always been at, and it seems like both sides are always butting heads. And it's been that way for a while, and somebody really needs to step up and say, okay, enough is enough. We need to quit playing these freaking games.
Agreed.
And both sides are guilty. Both sides. Obama said, I will not negotiate. The Boehner's also said we won't negotiate. And so has... what's his name? Reid. Reid has also said, we won't negotiate. I mean, everybody's like, we won't negotiate. Well, someone's got to give.
Well, I agree with that, but it depends on it depends on the situation. Okay, All right, are we still talking about the State of the Union? Where are we?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
I was going to say I feel like we're getting off topic here.
Okay.
But let me just add.
We'll keep it brief.
But let me just add to rebuttal that it depends on the situation. When it came to the shutdown, I am glad that Obama didn't negotiate. I'm glad that Obama stood his ground and just let the GOP just crumble on themselves, because here is a situation where he finally gets a payback. We have seen many, many times where the budget talks have come down to the 11th hour on the last day, and Obama's just like, all right, I will give you what you want just so that we can keep the government going for a lot longer. And that happened once, twice, 3 times. So whenever it came to the 3 times the lady, yeah. So whenever it came down to the shutdown, it was Obama's turn to say, all right, the buck stops here. You guys, it's your turn to compromise. And go ahead.
We'll get on this in a later topic or later time about the shutdown, because I personally saw it as an opportunity to fix several things that I think are wrong with the way the government is run, but we're not taking advantage of. Yeah, for instance, instead of just pushing everything through at one time, going through and trying to fund things in chunks instead of everything at once, how it used to be done before now, or for the last, I think, 20 years has been done that way, maybe longer. But anyway, that's a topic for another time. But I think the one thing that he was really harping on a lot was jobs. Jobs in America are very important. He said unemployment is the best it's been in like 5 years. Debatable. I mean, depends on the numbers. They play a fuzzy logic game with the freaking unemployment numbers. I do think it has gotten better, but I don't think it's as good as it should be, or as good as it has been. But he really wanted to do was try and instill, I thought it was cool, as he said that people need to worry about work ethic principles, which I think is very important and very lacking in today. A lot of people don't have any ethics when it comes to the workplace. How often do you guys see people with ethics in the workplace anymore?
Not a whole lot. I mean, it's
subjective again. It's one of those subjective things that there's definitely no ethics in the workplace of a congressman.
Yeah, I know. Or gold farmers.
Or gold farmers.
Oh God.
Or gold farmers.
Exactly.
He did talk about something that really surprised the crap out of me, though: lowering taxes for businesses.
Yeah.
Lowering taxes?
Yeah.
It's a liberal?
Well,
what the hell? Okay. I will give him a thumbs up for that if he actually does it.
Well,
lower the taxes for businesses.
Okay, well, and that's just the thing. Okay, here's the question though: what was his exact words? Lowering taxes for businesses that hire in these United States.
Yes,
right.
If you hire here and you keep jobs here, they'll lower your taxes and make it more attractive.
Okay, exactly.
Which is something that does need to be done, and that's something I've been saying for a very long time. I'm sure you have too, Jerrid.
Yes and no. You see, the thing is, I'm just glad that he's got an idea to stop all this excessive outsourcing. I'm getting tired of calling technical support and getting India. Okay, I want to call somebody that I can understand.
Well, I think that comes to an argument that we kind of had on Facebook earlier. Chris, if you want to say something, please cut in. All right. We kind of argued about a little bit on Facebook was, what is, wage versus, wages for the job you do, wage based on skill, which I think is an important concept. You see people like, managers don't do as much work. They do a lot of work, but that's a different debate for a different time. But I do think that the problem is you got people in India, like you said, they get paid a lot less than Americans do, because Chris and I work tech support. We were making, $10 an hour for AOL?
Oh, yeah. I'm
sure the Dell reps make 13. I'm pretty sure those guys in India make a lot less than that.
Yeah. But that's just it. They work for, pennies
on the dollar. Yeah.
Right, and that's why businesses do it, because they're so much cheaper.
Yeah.
It's all about the bottom line.
Yep, and he said he wants to launch institutes to help make America the leaders in advanced technology. I kind of thought we were already.
Oh God, no. God, no. I mean, when it comes to like you see the stuff that Japan is making, and you see the stuff that like God, what other technology?
South Korea.
Yeah, South Korea.
Well,
no,
we see I see Japan and South Korea as improving upon technology that exists, but as far as like innovation, brand new technologies, I mean things we haven't even seen before, I think we're still tops in that. Now, as far as improving upon current technology, yeah, Japan and South Korea beat us in that area.
But I mean, okay, you were explain, like, give me an example, like
Okay.
what new technology has come out of America lately?
Pretty much everything Google does. I mean, look at things like I really can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Or we were developing hydrogen cars for a while before that got shelved, and that was actually coming along really well. I do think we are doing better in alternative energies than most countries are. Even though that's some people debate that, I think we are coming better in that.
Okay,
as far as new,
that is true. As a matter of fact, if you watch the State of the Union enhanced version provided by the White House, when he was talking about carbon emissions, one of the top, some of the top countries that put out the most carbon emissions are the Asian countries like Japan and South Korea. So
China's the worst.
Yeah.
But I'm if we want to get into global warming, whether or not carbon dioxide really is the cause of global warming or not, and humans debate that, we can get into that if we really want to.
I mean,
because I don't believe that. Now, I'm all for clean air. Clean air helps with the health of people.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fine with that.
Exactly.
I want clean air, not because of the whole, oh my God, it's going to... We've had some weird-ass weather lately. It's been freaking cold. And there have been plenty of studies where it's been getting colder lately.
Right.
But I do believe that I don't like the global warming fear-mongering. You know what? If you want to really encourage people to do something, just be honest. Clean air equals healthier living. You don't want to live in smog-filled China or frickin' Tokyo or places in Japan where you have to wear oxygen masks.
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with that in your cities.
Right.
But, they want to create more cars that run on natural gas. I'm for that. I think that's a good, innovative technology.
Yes and no. Okay, here's the thing.
Although fracking to get that stuff, no, not right.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you say that.
I'm not really big on fracking. I know a lot of people on the right are. I am not.
And you're right. I'm glad you said that because fracking is not a good way of doing it.
No.
However, even that, my city's buses run on natural gas, and I don't really know if they're really that much cleaner. I mean, they're still burning a gas, and you're still polluting, polluting that air.
What's burning propane produce? I am not sure. Propane. I don't know what propane's byproduct is.
Well, I mean, it's got to be some kind of smoke.
Yeah. I do think it actually burns pretty clean. I'm not sure exactly what it burns. I don't think it's anything like CO2 or something. I think it's actually it might be oxygen or something. I forget what it is actually.
That's a clean burning fuel, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, some propane and propane accessories. Propane, I don't know what the byproduct of it is, in all honesty, but I do know it is something that they do use for. They do say is a cleaner burning fuel than.
Sure,
definitely better than diesel.
Sure.
Or cleaner than gasoline.
I'm sure that it is comparably cleaner than
and more efficient.
Right.
With certain engines.
So I guess it's. I guess it's kind of a that's where my feud lies is well, is it really that clean or is it just cleaner?
Yeah. What do you
Like,
think, Chris?
Well,
I'm sorry, Jared. I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
no problem. Go on. We need to give Chris some talk time.
yeah, guys. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, says the guy who's been quiet this whole time.
Fucking chatty Cathy's over here just yapping away. No, I was just thinking of just trying to think of stuff. I know Matt's like, oh my god, he's thinking of stuff. And to that I say, go to hell. No, I think the whole alternative fuel thing is it's all a waste until they nab the real issue. They nab the real bad guys here, which is the oil industry and all that, because as long as they're in business, let's face it, we're not going to have alternative fuels. We're not going to see any of that really truly go anywhere, because it makes too many people money, and that's what they need to either need to, well, obviously they can't push them out of the way, but instead they need to show a lot of these oil bigwigs and whatnot, the ones in the industry. They need to show them that alternative methods can also make money as well. Because sadly, money is what makes the world go round. As much as we don't want to admit it, that's the truth. Right.
But oil is still a big part of what produces energy in the world. Oil is used for a lot of products. It is by no means something that can be completely eliminated. Granted, we do need to loosen our dependency on foreign oil, which is something I really agree with. I mean, why we haven't tapped our own reserves instead of always relying on these other guys who dictate our economy is beyond me. I mean, we were at one point almost two something a barrel, some crazy ass numbers, and they just won't touch our reserves to lower prices. I mean, that's why these reserves exist to begin with. So we aren't at the behest of things like OPEC, which does OPEC still exist? I think they do. But we aren't at the behest of the Middle East. That's why those reserves were started to begin with. So they said this won't happen again. And we still let it.
Well, and Obama did point that out in the speech, that we are producing more oil than we have in the past, I think he said 20 years?
I don't remember that part, to be honest, but okay, I'll have to search through the transcript for that.
Yeah,
possible.
Look up that. Here, where's that link you had for the transcripts?
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah, it's in Facebook.
Oh, it's in Facebook. Okay, let me go to that real quick.
It's the multi-message you started.
Oh yeah, here it is. More oil produced in the home. Okay. More oil produced at home than we buy from the rest of the world. The first time that's happened in nearly 20 years. He didn't actually give a number, but did say it was the first time we did that in nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. If that stat is true, which, okay, because I heard we put a moratorium on most on new oil rigs and stuff after the whole BP incident. But hey, if that's true, okay. We're lessening our dependency on foreign oil, and if that's the case, then good. He made that promise when he originally, during his first term, and it took him 5 years to finally get that going. But it does take time for those kinds of things to take effect. So
exactly.
I'll give him some credit where credit is due. That
exactly.
I'm not an Obama hater as much as I am, but I'm not the kind of guy like he wants to kill us all. I did think it was kind of disingenuous for him to say that the auto industry made a comeback and GM is looking good again, when GM actually is back almost to where it was before. They're starting to have financial troubles again.
When did this happen?
There have been reports quite a few times over the last few months that they've buried it quite well. I'll find you some reports. But GM hasn't been doing as well as they thought. In fact, there were even talks about they may need to hit up the government for another loan.
Oh, brother.
Because they haven't been able to sell things like the Volt is a big bust. They haven't been selling. They put a lot of money into that thing, and it is not selling. The Volt, they are not doing so well.
It's overpriced, that's why. It's too expensive.
It can't compete with things like the Prius.
I know.
Bad considering the Volt is a very good
Prius. Car. Yeah, the Prius is like what? You could probably get one under $20,000. The Volt, the cheapest Volt with Which there's not really like a low feature one, but the cheapest Volt is like $32,000.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
what the hell?
And GM isn't selling like they should be, and their numbers have been down again. They were really talking about going back to the well a second time, and they kind of got squashed. I think they kind of like, shh, don't talk about that. This is one of our wins. We don't want to lose this one. I mean, Detroit's still a shithole last time I checked. So I won't exactly say things are looking up, but,
you know what I'd... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Jerrid.
Well, I was going to chime in with, you know what I'd like to see come back would be Cash for Clunkers.
Cash for Clunkers was a decent program.
Yeah, I think Cash for Clunkers did a lot of good, and I was honestly kind of sad to find out that I couldn't get in on it. So that's another reason I'd like to see it come back.
Yeah. Now, one thing I think that was, I thought that was a little bit. He was talking about raising unemployment, the number of weeks you can be in unemployment, as helping people find jobs. Now, personally, I think unemployment, people being on it longer, just makes people not want to look for a job more.
Oh,
that's just me. Go ahead, Jerrid. Go ahead.
That's close to home, isn't it?
No,
Open the door.
No. Just, God, why did Deanna have to skip? Okay.
We, when she comes back, we can talk about this stuff.
Wow, because
I want to do some bullet point topics in future shows. Like at the end, we'll talk about one specific topic, and like something we haven't really gotten a chance to talk about yet. So that may be one of the first ones we'll do. Go ahead.
Because the thing is,
I've been on unemployment for quite a while too. So I've been on unemployment.
Well, yeah. No. So that's just the thing. I just, oh God, I kind of wish she was here for that because she would have tore you up.
Yeah, I know, and I really was going to use that because I was really looking forward to that one, and we didn't. Now, I will not say that there are people who legitimately use it, and most people I sure do, but I know quite a few people that are on what they call the Obama plan, and I hate that. I'm like, so what? You're just going to ride out unemployment and try and find a job when it runs out, and then when it runs out, they bitch they can't find a job. Well, you should have been looking for the last 99 weeks. Now, conversely, if the economy's doing so great, there should be more jobs.
Right.
But they aren't taking the proper steps in order to find a better job.
Okay.
Or find a job, or even find a job.
I will agree to that. I will agree that there are people out there who just procrastinate on finding a job because they feel like, oh, I've got my bills paid for. No big deal.
Shut your mouth.
Tiana.
Yeah,
Wow.
Don't come bitching to me that your benefits ran out because you were lazy and shit.
I've never done that.
No, you haven't. But I know people that we both know people that have. I won't mention any names, but there are people we know that have done that, and they piss us off beyond belief to where I don't no longer talk to those people. But I think the thing that he wanted to do also was try and do more training, create more on-the-job training and training systems to train people to work jobs. That is something that is sorely lacking and something people need to finally start doing. Quit relying on the quote-unquote Mick jobs or these easy jobs. Find a skill, gain a skill so you can improve yourself. But nobody, again, we go back to the work ethic. Nobody wants to apply themselves to work hard for something. Right. They think they should just get paid $15 an hour. Right. No, you need to do a job that gets you paid $15 an hour.
Exactly.
Right. No, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And that's just the thing. Okay, now let's kind of use that and segue into like the minimum wage portion of the
top
speech.
Discussion?
You can do it.
The speech. Sorry, I'm admittedly kind of distracted right now. I'm looking at like 2 or 3 other things at once, so I'm going to just close a few windows real quick. Okay, here's the thing about, like, okay, like you said, a Mick job. Okay, there are a lot of people that are
I
like,
take
oh,
it back. I hate that term. I'm sorry.
no, 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 don't,
Okay.
don't. I like it. I like it. Okay, because there are a lot of people that do that. They get Mick jobs, and then they get comfortable in their Mick job, and then they start, spending a year, 2 years, 3 years, and so on in their Mick job, and then they're complaining, why don't I make any more money? Well, genius, you're not going to make, you're not going to be able to retire flipping burgers at McDonald's. It's just like a lot of McDonald's franchise owners and CEOs. They got somewhere, or they started off doing that, flipping burgers and everything.
Yeah.
They're now making money hand over fist because they didn't get comfortable in that Mick job.
Yeah. Chris,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is,
you've worked McDonald's, you've worked Walmart. You probably have more experience with this than anybody else does.
Oh yeah, yeah. The thing you got to understand is there's like they say, there's two sides to every story. There's a lot of people I know personally on a personal level that good people, they just really are complacent individuals. They find enjoyment in what they do, whereas others, or I would say majority of people, think it's like below them. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but the thing that gets me, I would have to say more than anything else, is that a lot of people just don't have I guess they don't have the willpower in that area to do more for themselves and for their loved ones. And I guess, again, that comes down to, like Matt said, people are just, I mean, I don't know if you want to say it's immoral or whatever the case may be, but a lot of people just don't have the proper...
They don't have the drive.
Drive or what have you, yeah. And it's...
Well, I think it's a fault of, I hate to say this, the way society's gone in the last probably 30 years, maybe longer, where it's been fed to us that you can accomplish anything, which I agree with. But the concept I hate of work smarter, not harder. No, that's bullshit. Work hard, work smart. Both. It isn't one, it isn't the other. The concept of working smarter and not harder is what's fucked us all up. Because you got these people that work smart that don't do a freaking thing. I call them Congress. But
nice.
Bada bing.
Politicians
I call them politicians in general. But you see these, people that literally just bullshit their way through their whole career. And when they finally get to the point where they got to do something, they're fucked. My God, how many IT admins and the people in IT have I seen can't do a damn thing when they're really asked without Google?
Oh yeah, it's sad. Really.
It makes me sad. There was a guy I worked with recently. It was that way. He's like, I'll just Google it. You can't get by on Google alone.
Right.
You can try, and eventually you're going to run into a wall where you can't Google it. And when you do, you freaking burn out and freaking get in your back like a freaking turtle, like, what do I do? Yeah, exactly. Waiting for someone to flip you over, or Mario to jump on you and kick you.
So,
again, more training. We need more training with people.
So that being said, what with all this talk about, hey, if you want more money, work harder. That being said, these are companies that can afford to make pay their employees more if they want to. They just don't want to because of the bottom line. And hold on,
wouldn't say that. Yeah,
I'm getting to that. To that, and I will quote my source. Okay, we were talking specifically about McDonald's, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. On Netflix right now, there is a little short 20-minute documentary called Inside McDonald's. And it's a great documentary. There's no political spin on it. It's literally just a 20-minute factoid about McDonald's. where it came from, how much food they make, how much sales they make. They even
Ray Kroc was a bit of a dick.
Well, no, they didn't. They didn't even do that. They didn't even do that. But no, I agree. And little bit is an understatement. Little bit is very much an understatement. But
boy, he fucked those McDonald's brothers over real good.
God, he did. God.
Did he?
P.S. One of them is now currently on the board of directors. So at least there's some justice in that story. But oh God, I can't even remember the guy's name anymore. And I looked him up earlier today. The CEO, Don.
I don't remember who's the CEO.
Whatever his name is. No, I'm just kidding.
Don Johnson. No.
Johnson. Don.
Yes.
Don Rickles. What?
No. Anyway, they talked about how people were wanting McDonald's to pay their employees $15 an hour, and he said, look, Don Thompson. Thank you. So I was close. It sounded like Don Johnson.
Nice.
Yeah, he's only been there for like a year though.
Oh wow. But anyway, he said that he kind of ducked it a little. He was like, no, I'm not going to answer any of that mumbo jumbo. And he goes, but I will say that when Congress raises the minimum wage, we will pay it. And that right there is the problem. Is that they don't want to pay it until they have to. And that's what's creating the problem. People who own little mom and pop restaurants, they can't afford to wait for McDonald's, or they can't afford to pay only what's minimum wage. Places like McDonald's, multi-million-dollar corporations can pay more and should pay more instead of waiting for Congress.
Do you think, this may sound very socialist,
mm-hmm.
that the minimum wage should be in a sliding scale based on the amount of based on the amount of revenue that a company generates?
Yes. In a tier for
like
fashion.
Taxes.
Yes, in a tier fashion. Yes.
Okay.
And I know that will make people gravitate to those bigger corporation jobs, but at the same time, I think there's also there's still going to be an appeal for working for that mom and pop place, because you're not going to have so many politics. You're not going to have so many.
If more people, if you're creating more, if you raise the minimum wage on McDonald's, they're not going to hire as many workers.
Right.
Exactly.
But that will force people to go to work for the mom and pops and help them gain more employment and have a bigger hiring pool.
Right.
Which you don't get where if McDonald's can hire 50 freaking people at $7 something an hour, I think minimum wage was $7.45 or something right now. Mm-hmm. At $8.45, somewhere around there. For like that amount, you can do that. But at the same time, I don't think minimum wage should be federally mandated. It should be state mandated. We've talked about that before. Minimum wage in New York should be much higher than a minimum wage in Florida. Because you're going to have a higher cost of living in New York City than you would here.
Not for long, but anyway, that's
a different topic. I somewhat disagree. I do think that the federal government should say, okay, you need to pay at least this much, otherwise you're just owning slaves. Otherwise you just got slaves.
But I'm sorry.
So that's one thing. So that's the other side of the coin. I think that remember why we have Labor Day. Okay, there were children that worked 50 hours a week, getting paid
that's real
like,
bad.
getting paid like
Yeah.
nothing.
Working
right?
in coal mines.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but that's kind of like that's I wouldn't say it's an unfair comparison, but that's
But I'm
kind of
saying,
one extreme. You know what I mean?
but I'm
'Cause-
saying that
yeah,
if there wasn't that mandate, it would happen again.
No, I don't
well,
disagree that federal labor law shouldn't exist. I'm fine with that. But I do think that minimum wage should be something that the states decide on. The state can say this is what the minimum wage in the state should be. If you don't like it, move to another state.
But so
Same
you
thing.
don't.
That's how it works with taxes right now.
So you're
You know?
saying that federal federal work laws should go up
No.
only up to the wages.
No,
Should stop at
I
the
think
wages.
wages should be excluded from that. If you want to include now, if you want to say OSHA, I think OSHA is fine. Safety, things like that. Yes, I'm fine with that stuff being federally mandated because that is stuff that should be universal no matter where you go. Now, granted, many states actually have stuff on top of OSHA that's even higher standards, which I applaud states that do that. Some don't, but that stuff should be mandated. But I think it's easier to affect change on a local level than it is to affect change on a higher level. And if you if McDonald's was the example, but states think the same way. Well, the federal government doesn't think it should be higher, so why should we raise it?
Right.
Okay, well, no, that's bullshit. But if you remove the federal government from it, and the people are the ones who are demanding it, they're more willing to listen to the people and make the adjustments accordingly because they have no other baseline for comparison other than the ones dictated by their people.
No, I disagree with
At least that's how
that.
the system should work.
I disagree with that because here you go again.
Well, that's why many states don't have income tax.
You got Don Thompson sitting there saying, when the government raises the minimum wage, we'll pay it. All right. Well, say the government says, all right, well, no more minimum wage. Oh, well, in that case, pay cuts for everyone.
well, hold on, Jerrid. See,
But
I
many
mean,
states do
well, hold
have
on,
minimum
hold
wage
on, hold
laws.
on. Okay, you guys talk a lot, so just shut it for 5 seconds. What you guys are going around in circles, but there's one key thing you're missing here. Again, two sides to every story. You're forgetting the part about the business side of it. Yeah, it's easy to say you could look at numbers and this and that and say they make all this kind of money, and you assume, and it's no offense, and it's assumption that they can afford to pay it. But what you have to look at several factors, including cost of, everything from
Right.
hiring,
expenses.
because you got to remember, not every McDonald's is going to make the same kind of money.
Most
You
of them
know,
are
and a lot of
franchisees.
A lot of them are franchisees.
Right.
So you're grouping all of them in the same group, assuming that all of them can do that. But to be honest with you, a McDonald's in downtown Manhattan compared to the McDonald's down the road here in Plant City, Florida, is not in the same level, not in the same fucking ballpark, And that's my point. Is like, from a business standpoint, there's cost. I know we all know this.
Yeah.
But the specifics to that, there's a lot more to it. So you can't just say, well, we'll raise it because we can afford it. Well, you really truly have to afford it, and that's why he said, he wants to wait for Congress to say, yeah, let's raise the minimum wage, because once they raise the minimum wage, what usually coincides with that? Usually they're going to have tax breaks and stuff like that.
I'll have to watch the documentary, and at the same time read whatever interview they were quoting him from and see the context of it, because that could be something that was taken out of context a bit.
No.
It wasn't. Jerrid's right. I've saw the video.
Oh, okay.
It's in that documentary. This is a direct quote from that documentary, not like a written thing that's allegedly him. No. This came out of his mouth.
But do you think that McDonald's workers should be making $12-13 an hour like some
No.
places?
No, not at all.
No. But I do think that they could they could give their employees a bit more.
A cost of living increase should be applied, but not necessarily a tax bracket raising change.
Right.
Or something that dramatic.
Right.
Like they keep saying Walmart workers should make $12.50 an hour.
I mean, again, it depends.
Walmart makes a lot of money, but
right.
Walmart also has a lot. Walmart does operate with a lot of expense. And, but again, hey, you know what? That giant warehouse, every single product they do buy.
But they make, but they do make a ton in profit.
Yes,
and that's what I'm saying.
They
can cut some of that profit into their payroll. They can do it. They can do it, and they should do it. They just don't want to do it. Because
I would say they should do it, but I don't know. I wouldn't go as far as saying they can do it, because again,
why couldn't they?
We're still talking about like using McDonald's as an example.
McDonald's, Walmart, whatever.
Any of this play and we're saying why they can't just increase the rate without waiting for Congress.
No, I mean, I'm saying cut into their profit a little.
Cut into their profit. Well, see, in that lies the whole thing about being in America, right? It's this whole deal about capitalism. Everybody. Well, that's part of capitalism, but you also have to remember the people. Okay, the people. Let's just say franchisees, or let's say even corporate bigwigs. Okay, these guys. I'm not saying they're we should feel sorry for them by any means. Okay, but at the same time, it's not like these guys just were handed the money, handed the positions. No. They had to work. The whole idea that the media and movies and all this get portrayed of businessmen are corrupt and they step over people.
The OCP chairman, for example.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed in you, Dick.
Yeah, I mean that's all fantasy. The truth is, a lot of these guys work their ass off to get to where they're at.
Right.
And the thing is, if you were in their shoes, I mean, you would have to look at the bigger picture and say, okay, how much of a cut are we saying? Okay, we say we take a cut now. Okay, I'll take a cut out of what I make and what these other guys make that are in my position, all the way up to say the president level. And then let's say 2 years down the road, everybody's saying, oh, this isn't enough, so we take a cut again and again. I mean, when does it stop is the point.
They're
I mean, well, that's my point is this. What it comes down to is greed. People from the lowest level to the highest level, you're always going to have your greedy individuals that think, oh, gee, I work at McDonald's, but I should have a 70-inch TV in my living room, and I should have, a car with spinning rims and all this shit. People like that who have that mentality that aren't willing to put the work in to do it, but think the work they are doing is enough. And that is the problem. They're not working hard or smart. They're either doing one or the other. They're not doing both, like Matt was saying.
Okay. Go ahead, Matt.
I think the other thing is also, we're talking about, again, skills. I mean, education is the key here. You got these people that don't consider education to be a big deal anymore, and they're complaining they can't get good jobs. And Obama brought up a good point that people need to be better educated. Our education system's in the crapper. Oh, yeah. How many kids really care about school anymore? All three of us are parents. My kids care about school, but how many kids do you see that don't care about school?
I didn't care about school back in the day.
I didn't. Chris?
Oh, I had
never mind,
problems. Yeah, I didn't.
Right, but I mean, the president said that educators from Tennessee to Washington, D.C. are helping to educate right now. Apparently, fuck the rest of the country, but
By the way, I guess we're moving on then.
Yeah, I was trying to do a segue.
Oh, okay.
we were running really long on that topic. Trust me,
are we segueing?
When Deanna gets back, we'll probably revisit this topic. Most definitely.
Wow.
That's what I was trying to do. It's called a segue. Smooth.
Very smooth, Jerrid. Very smooth.
But anyways, they're talking about giving, for one, students better access to broadband. I agree with that, but I think everybody needs better access to broadband. And he's been putting a good initiative forward to try and do that. Granted, he isn't the. This is a continuation from something that Clinton started back during his administration. Bush continued it, and Obama's kind of continuing it as well. I don't know if you guys are aware of what FiOS is, but FiOS is actually the product of one of these initiatives. The government gave Verizon a bunch of money to build it up. I think AT&T's UVerse is also a similar system.
I mean, I don't remember Bush saying anything about it, but
he didn't. But it wasn't something you really talked about because it was something that was just legislated through. The original bill was the Federal Telecommunication Act. This is actually where the Obama phone also came from, but it was actually Clinton that started it. It was actually a plan that started under him to make sure everybody had phones, and it was kind of tacked on. Cell phones were tacked onto that, actually, I think, with Bush, and Obama just rode that. That's kind of where the Obama phone thing came from. But part of that was also they took this like $40 billion or something, $40 billion, that was allocated towards, I think, telephone infrastructure, and they moved it to broadband. And that's actually what helped why we saw these booms of fiber everywhere because of this.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone wanted a piece of that government money because the government was literally paying for it all.
Exactly.
And Obama was talking about giving people better access to broadband and to help students afford education. Now, I don't know about you guys, student loans are freaking nuts. What, $100,000 to go to school?
Oh, yeah.
Hell.
That's a lot of money.
One thing I will give him credit for, if this passes, and it needs to, no more than 10% of your income can be put towards student loans. I agree.
Woo!
Cap student loan payments in terms.
Woo.
Now, the thing is, who gives out most of these loans? Sallie Mae, which is the government.
Yep.
I was talking about these predatory lenders, almost like these predatory lenders for student loans. Most student loans are given to you from Sallie Mae, which is a government entity.
Well, yeah.
They've taken a lot on. A lot of loans are given through Sallie Mae.
Yeah,
some private loans.
Yeah. I was gonna say there. I don't know if you can really say that there's just Sallie Mae. No.
There's AES. There's a few others out there. Banks do it.
Right.
I know there are others, but Sallie Mae is probably the largest, and most people get their loans through Sallie Mae.
Well, okay,
I know mine are.
But is Sallie Mae really that expensive?
Sallie Mae just does the loans, but not the school. No, they are not. They're fairly reasonable. But I'm talking about but in general, the educators themselves are the problems. These educators are charging hundreds of thousands of dollars for an education. For what? You see all the time that these universities are charging. Where does this money go? Towards these professors that make all this money for what? Stand there and giving lectures? Now, I know some schools do research and things like that. But tuition money usually isn't used for that. Usually they get that from other sources, or private funds, or from the government for pointless studies on monkey masturbation. Oh God, yes, thank you. Yeah, you really want to start cutting the budget? Why don't you start cutting this shit? Really? We don't need these studies. Fucking hell. But anyways, topic for another time. But, I think it's out of control. What do you guys think?
Yeah, you go, Jerrid.
Okay, I'm sorry because you went from one topic to another. So are we talking about like the college loan things or
college loans?
Oh, okay. I agree with you.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I loved this State of the Union address. I think everything that Obama said, Congress needs to pay attention to, and they really need to get their head out of their asses.
I don't think Congress needs to pay attention. I think the whole country needs to pay attention.
Yeah.
The left and right. Because the right has their head so far up their ass right now, they won't listen. Everything they think he says is words from the devil.
Right.
Whereas the left, conversely, thinks everything he says is golden.
It was golden. I mean, I'm sorry, but it was.
The debate is settled on global warming. The debate is settled.
Yes, the debate is settled. It is real. Now, the new debate is it man-made? We don't know.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, that debate was settled.
Right.
He brought that up. And
what?
That debate is not settled.
No, wait, no, no,
There's a
no,
lot
no,
of
no,
arguments over
no.
that.
He said the debate is settled. Global warming is real. Okay, and it is. It's real. But is it man-made? That's something that has yet to be determined.
It's not. I don't think it's man-made.
Topic we'll get into another time. We already
Yes.
rambled, I think, about the environment enough. Definitely on jobs.
Definitely on wages. Yep.
But yeah, I do think that go on, Chris. The student loans.
Well, and using my brother as an example, it's one of the reasons why he really didn't. He stopped going to USF to do because he was in the networking program. It's just so expensive. I mean, it's even more expensive than some of these state colleges like UF and FSU, and it's just everywhere. It's getting out of hand. And here's my counter question to the whole thing is that what are they getting out of it? They're getting
Nothing.
Large bills. They're going to get jobs. Like I was talking to a friend of mine online, Cheap. He goes by Cheap Trick. He's in our guild. I was talking to him about how he's going to school and all, and the reality is going to set in, which he's aware of, that as soon as he gets out of college, that there's a chance that he may not have a job, and that there might be others like me or Matt that maybe have been in the field for that specific area for years, and we're going to get hired over those guys that just came out of college. And why? Because for the last, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years or longer, everybody, especially in the last 20 years more specifically, it was pounded in the heads of parents to say, to be a good parent, you need to make sure no matter what, your kid goes to college and finishes college, because that will assure that they get a good job. But see, what that backfired, this is what I was telling Cheap, that backfired because you had all these people flooding the market, all different marketplaces from IT to you name it, right?
Yeah.
And all these kids are coming out. They're like, okay, I want my $50,000 a year job, please.
Oh God, did my school lied their asses off to me about that.
And here's the thing: they started doing it. They're getting all these people. They're running. They're pretty much running out of hiring people. And here's what they're stuck with: a bunch of kids that have no on-the-field experience, and they're having to put more money into educating them, teaching them more. It's costing more money than it's worth. And now companies in the last 10 years are starting to step back and say, whoa. Okay, why are we spending all this money in just hiring and people that have only been here less than a year? And they're not staying that long. And, it's just a lot of problems. So that's why it backfired. And that's where we're at right now is, if it's not just about college anymore, it's not about that $100,000 piece of paper,
I don't think I learned anything in college that I didn't already know.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You're not really getting...
Used to be college was where you would learn a skill or trade. Nowadays, you don't learn shit in college other than how to do a mean keg stand.
Yeah.
I spent $100,000 on that shit, and I got herpes. Okay. So, not me, but I'm saying, people. Not me. I got crabs.
Is this something you need to tell us, Matt?
Or your wife?
Anyways.
I went to a technical school. There were no parties in my college.
Yeah, well, and I think
our football team was involved Madden.
And I think really for all students, that's really what you've got to look at is when you go into when you're looking for a college, look for the value. I mean, because you talk about you go to college to learn a skill. Well, I did learn a skill, but it wasn't to some prestige private college, blah 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 blah. It was the community college here in town, and I learned how to run Final Cut, and I'm now running a video production company. So, you
could have gone on Lynda and did the same thing for less money.
Lynda.com.
Yeah, Lynda.com.
I've never heard of
like,
.com.
Fuck.
Yeah, they have a lot of training videos on things like Adobe products. Really good videos, by the way.
Jerrid's going to go there.
But not Final Cut.
And they have Final Cut.
They do have Final Cut.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, son of a bitch, I could have learned this for nothing.
I think the internet's going to... I think that colleges are going to feel very threatened by the internet.
Oh, yeah.
I think the internet is going to be where the future of education is going to come in play.
It's
and that's
already,
why the president's pushing the broadband initiative.
It's almost already there. Yeah, I mean, heck, when I went to that community college, I had a few online courses.
Oh yeah, same here.
So before long, it's just going to be all online courses.
Well, you're still going to have some stuff that's instructor trained. Trust me, I don't want you teaching a doctor over the internet.
Well, okay, good point.
but you know, doctor, why are you doing this via webcam? It's the only way I know how. Shit. Didn't I see that once on a video? Anyway, but yeah, I mean, that's really where it's going to go. We're seeing this push towards the internet being the future of education and being the delivery mechanism for the future for education. We talked about last week about the internet being the future delivery method for media and for news over cable, because people can bring their own startup networks and don't have to rely on editorial process and things like that. Same thing with education. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Common Core. I don't know how well versed you guys are in that, but it seems like to me that the government's trying to put a stranglehold on education, but people are saying, no, this isn't how we want to be taught. The government's saying how you should be taught, but why? I understand they want to raise education standards, but sometimes it's kind of seems like it's a bit dichotomous and hurts it more than it helps it sometimes. But that's just my opinion. That's probably a topic for another time. But I think we're moving forward with education in a good direction, but we'll see if it moves in the right direction with the way that the new education policies are put in place. Because I've seen some things that are very scary. Like, once kids take a test at a certain grade, you steer them in a certain career direction regardless of whether they want to or not. Not sure if I agree with that. And there are things in place that are starting to do that kind of scary stuff.
Yeah.
That sounds like shit you'd see in like communist Russia or in China, not stuff you'd see in the United States.
Yeah.
I think other countries do actually employ that.
China does that.
Yeah, and Japan I think does
Japan
too.
does it, yeah. No.
But one thing I think, another point that about the workplace that kind of worries me a bit, that is very contentious to me, is women in the workplace. Once again, this is brought up in a speech about how women are not equal in the workplace. Now, Jerrid, do you think women are treated equally in the workplace as men?
I haven't personally seen any kind of inequality per se, but I don't know. I'm not going to be the guy that says it doesn't exist, because
I will.
Who knows?
We need Deanna for that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Why didn't Deanna show up? Ugh.
Chris, your thoughts. I'll do last.
I'll be that guy to say it. It's a bullshit myth.
Sexist.
Well, no. Now, okay. Actually, let me be more specific.
You hate women and want them in the kitchen barefoot.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm kidding. No,
I hate that.
The thing is, okay, have there been issues with that? Yes. Are there still issues with it? I'm sure. Just like there are people that fly kites naked in the middle of a street. Okay, but the point is that
I want to hear what you do on a Sunday night.
Actually, it's Saturday, but anyway.
Sorry.
So, but the point is that okay, yeah, it obviously happens, but it's not as common as people keep pushing. Women's lib is like just cramming this shit down people's throat, and you know what? It's coming down to a point where now companies are like having to go out of their way to almost unfairly go over someone else that maybe is more qualified to give a woman that position, because they don't want her to feel like, okay, well, they're just singling out just men. I can't say the example on here, but there's a company that I work for that this exact thing happens. And it's just, and the funny thing is, it's gotten to the point where it's reversed, and now it's like women are getting treated more fairly than men are. And God forbid you say anything about it, because either you'll get that what? Look, or someone will just say, "Oh, you're full of shit." But that's my point. It's like it's nothing but just it's hate mongering is what it is. It's a form of hate mongering. It's saying how dare you speak out and say women aren't doing this? Then you obviously hate women or something. No, it's not. It's just
kind of like the abortion argument. If you don't like, if you're pro-life, you hate women.
Yeah, it's like taking it to a whole extreme that shouldn't be there. I mean, I'm sorry, but until you show me real proof that it happens on a large, consistent basis, then I'm just gonna look at you and laugh and go, "You're completely full of shit." And that's what I see every day is that, I see women treated just as fairly or equal than men are. That's what I see for multiple jobs.
He gave statistics that women are paid less than men, which is kind of funny considering women get paid less in his White House than men by quite a bit, actually. I think it's like 10, 15 cents.
But are they the same position? Are they the same job compared to a man? Like, is it because if you're talking about a secretary job, I mean, how
personal assistant, you non-PC dick. But no, I don't think we have. I hate the term war on women. I think that's very
it's hate mongering.
It's hate mongering, but fear mongering.
Fear mongering.
It's something you use for political points, kind of like the war on terror and the war on Christians, the war on God, war on Christmas. You hear that all the time. Same thing. It's all a bunch of just hyped crap. Was there a problem with women? Yes. And Obama brought up, treating women like they were in Mad Men. I'm like, really, dude? Nobody is treated like that anymore in 90% of businesses. Are there probably some people who are very old school that still do that? Probably, but they're dicks. And most people are aware of that, and it's not as common as it used to be.
It's just Obama spoon-feeding the liberals to make them happy, that's all.
Right, and I don't think there is a real war on women. I think it's just something made up. What do you think, Jerrid? Is there a real war on women, or is it something that's just used for political points?
I just want to say to our female listeners out there that at the end of the show, both Chris and Matt will tell you where you can find them. On the internet, of course.
Oh yeah.
So
please,
so
I welcome it.
Make sure and write them. So write them all your thoughts and.
I welcome it. Trust me, I'm sure I'll be told that I beat my wife and I hate women. And trust me, I love the ladies.
Well, no, I don't think I'd go that far. And if the listeners go or do go that far, then shame on them. But seriously, you guys, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to be the one that says, yeah, that's bullshit. That's not happening. Because it might. Just because I don't see it, or you guys don't see it, doesn't mean it's not happening.
I'm in IT. Agree? Well, we all agree it is a very male-dominated field.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's dominated.
This is the first job I've had where I've had a man as a manager. First job.
Okay.
I've never had a man as a male manager up until now. I've always had a woman in a higher position than I am, being my supervisor or manager, in a managerial position. Not necessarily executive, but definitely in a one step below executive level or director level. I think women are women are given as good an opportunity as men are in most cases. Are there some sexism and bias? Probably. It's inherent in people. I hate to say it. It always will be. But, most people move beyond that. If I see a woman doing a great job, I'm going to praise her just like I would a man. Okay, I probably will say things differently. That's not to offend her, because I'd be a more sarcastic dick to a dude. But I would still praise her just the same.
Slap her on the ass, say good job.
And say good job. I'll get punched in the fucking
Can
face.
I just add something too? I wanted to say that, one of the main reasons why I say it's almost like a figment of people's imagination. I mean, I'm kidding though. I'm exaggerating, but the truth of the matter is,
hyped. It's overhyped.
Well, no, the thing is, it's just like racism or racist bias in jobs, right? I mean, you have affirmative action, everything. You have all these systems in place in companies.
We'll be getting to that topic in the future.
Matt, hold on. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
You have listen. You have all these systems in place. It's like a generic thing now. Every company has some kind of action plan or treat others the way you want to be treated. You know, all that crap. They give it to you, cram it down your throat. You know, when you during orientation, every job has it.
Equal opportunity. It's called.
Right. Now that being said, a lot of these major companies and even smaller companies have. So in a lot of cases have their own legal representation. They have systems in place. So if there's even an inch of this kind of crap, and I've actually seen it happen in real, like I've seen it happen at Stream. I've seen it happen at Alltel.
Don't
a few other
names,
different.
Don't mention places.
Well, the point is I've seen it happen at companies I work for, and the thing is that these companies came down on them. I mean, they were like,
oh yeah.
Arrested and they were sued, and I mean their life was obviously going to be over after that. So my point to that is this: if you just go on the assumption that this happens all the time, you're misplacing. You should be putting that same energy into something else, because there are systems in place to take care of idiots who are that stupid to do that. If you're stupid enough to do it, then guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it happened once, twice, 3 times. As soon as people find out, which they will, because we all know in the workplace people gossip, they're going to find out, and guess what? Your ass is grass, and you're the dumbass because you're the one who did something that stupid. When you know that there's all those systems in place, that's my point of why I said, it's a myth, is because there's just too many things in place to come down on idiots like that. So,
but one thing he brought up too, in regards to women, that I did think was a good idea, was that he was talking about not just women but men as well. That parents should be allowed to take care of their sick kids without risking losing their job and have to use FMLA. Now, I know a lot of people that their number one excuse for getting out of work is my kids are sick.
Yeah.
I don't know how he plans to implement something like this, because I see this being abused like hell. What do you guys think?
I think you're taking that out of context.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think that was a praise to the ACA.
Okay.
Because I think even with the ACA in, you're gonna have guys come out and be like, oh, I can't come in, my daughter's sick. Oh.
I gotta play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Gotta go raid a dungeon.
Yeah. I can't come in. My daughter has come down with a bad case of siege of
launchitis.
Siege of Orgamaritis. Yeah, Day-launchitis.
Siege of Orgamaritis.
Yeah.
Day one launchitis.
Day one launchitis. I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, it's one of those situations where, in a legitimate situation, I mean, the ACA would work really well, but in those situations where some guys just trying to skip
out
work,
duties,
skip out on work, then you're never going to be able to fix that.
Well, I know people that used to say their kid was sick all the time, and it got to the point that, and they're like, daycare wouldn't take him. One of my bosses was like, well, then take him to a local church. They'll take him. But, we're some real dicks in my
But
day.
you know what, though?
But that person also missed like one day every other week because of it.
Well,
That was way excessive.
But listen,
Right.
It's patterns.
Yeah.
They develop patterns, and that's what a lot of companies... I'm not going to say the name, but there was a couple of companies more recently I worked for they changed their policy on attendance policy, and they made it more what's the word shit. I'm trying to think of the word. More of a
based more on patterns.
Yeah, exactly. It's holistic. That's it.
Holistic.
Yeah, it's a holistic system, and a lot of companies are doing that now. Heuristic. I know I'm saying it wrong.
No, that's
Jerrid
cool.
knows
it's a similar word. Holistic is a type of medicine. But,
Right. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, a lot of systems are doing that now, and for a good reason, because a lot of these people will manipulate, like you said, every other week or some shit. Well, if it becomes a pattern, then that's when that company can say, hey, why is this happening every other Sunday or whatever,
Every Monday. But wait, the other thing is he was talking about was giving more of women get maternity leave and giving similar types of leave that women get to men, which, you know what? I kind of agree.
Yeah.
Men should be given an equal amount of time. Like, I think women get like 3 weeks of maternity leave. We get like 1.
Yeah.
You know what? If women need to be treated more equally in the workplace, men need to be treated as well.
Here, here.
We need that bonding time with our new child as well, just as much as the women do.
Exactly. And not only that, we need to be able to assist our women with the new baby.
What if she had a rough pregnancy?
Right.
Well, I got to dip into my FMLA because of it, but she doesn't have to?
Right.
Yeah,
That's crap. That is bullshit. And I know plenty of people who had to do it. I almost had to. But this is crap. You need to, if men need to be treated equally health-wise as women do in the workplace, I think that is something that is grossly done. I know you're like, oh yeah, women are treated equal, but not men. Yeah. It's something that a lot of people brought up over the years, that women get more leave than men do with certain things. Men should be treated equally in my mind, just like women should be treated equally in the workplace.
Yeah.
But I think we both agree on that. Now, one thing I thought was kind of interesting in terms of work and getting old and health, the government once again wanted to get into the retirement plan system. The MyRA, or whatever they were calling it. Don't really know too much about what the hell this is. The government's starting an IRA program? Haven't we learned anything from Social Security?
I mean, I like this idea. It's innovative. It's new. I mean, I do kind of question what we're going to invest in with these IRAs.
We were talking. Okay, to be fair, we were talking about investing Social Security a long time ago in stocks. Thank God that didn't happen. We would have been so fucked.
Well, maybe that's what's going to happen now. Yeah, maybe that's part of MyRA.
So you're taking a system that you bashed 10 years ago, and you're just putting new lipstick on the pig to sell it back to the people. This is like Romney saying Obamacare is bad when you're the one who set the template for it.
Right.
No. The government does not need to get involved in retirement or finances. This always ends badly. Look at Fannie Freddie. Social Security, fix Social Security. Concentrate on that first, then do something else. Don't create something else when Social Security already has a shitload of problems. My big problem with Obamacare, you're fixing a system without fixing what's wrong with it to begin with. You're just helping the system. You're trying to create patches, but the cracks are getting bigger. You can't keep up. Exactly. You need to change the system or fix what's wrong with it first. Not saying socialized medicine is the way to go, but there are ways to fix it. But this is another one of those things where I'm like, you're creating a solution without fixing the initial problem. What do you think, Jerrid? I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
No, this is a double-edged sword because
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, basically, because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, yeah, we could maybe leave it up to the individual to save for his retirement, but can we really put that kind of faith in them? I mean, and if they don't have enough money to retire, then they're going to be leeching off the system. So this is it again is kind of.
Is this supposed to replace Social Security?
Um,
If so, you need to say that, and you need to tell us what the plan is.
oh,
Because
and
I do agree Social Security... Now, can we agree that Social Security has some major problems with it?
yes.
Oh, hell
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. It was a system that was kind of like pensions. You set up a system that you were banking on most people not living old enough to collect on.
Right.
Everybody's living longer. You can't afford to keep paying it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with setting up a system to replace Social Security like this, but don't run them both concurrently. And you need to have really good oversight.
Well-
this system could go really bad.
And that's just it. We're just gonna. Only time will tell. And unfortunately, that is something that will only.
Kind of like ACA.
Exactly. Yeah. I was actually sorry. I'm getting distracted again.
Quit watching My Little Ponies.
No. I just found Felicia Rose's Facebook, and wow. Who knew the girl from Sleepaway Camp is hot now?
Wow. Nice name drop there.
Back on topic.
Yeah. Sorry. Again, I'm just getting distracted. Yeah. No. That's what I'm thinking. This is the way Obama works. Hey, we've got a healthcare reform for you. Stick around and stick around. You'll learn details after this break.
Yeah.
This just in. Justin Bieber got arrested.
Yeah. Really.
Now he's doing the same thing. Hey, we got a new retirement reform coming up. Stick around. Details after this.
This could be either a very good or a very bad thing, but
It could.
He brought up a very good point, though, when he was talking about ACA, that once again, and I'm sure this is going to get bashed, that once again, he's saying, hey, I got a program in place. What does the other side have?
Yeah.
And you know what? In all honesty, the Republicans come up short.
Yep.
They bitch about Obamacare. What's your plan?
Yeah.
Romney never told us what the hell his plan was to fix
It's
the
because
healthcare system.
and here
Because it was his system.
And you know what?
His version.
I've got the answer. Because their corporate sponsors don't allow it.
They're both placating
Exactly.
to their corporate overlords on both sides. But
He's right, though.
Yeah, I agree. And I've heard people on the right talk about tort reform and that being a big push to try and lower cost. I kind of agree with that. Actually, I do agree with that. But that's one part of the pie. We need if you want to fight Obamacare, come up with a comprehensive plan in which to reform the healthcare system. Come up with a plan, pitch it to the people, and let them decide which one they want. Don't just say, well, this is bad because it's going to make us go bankrupt. Okay, but what's your plan? Just leave it the way it is? Because that's not sustainable either.
Right.
Exactly.
You got to have a plan. And I'm really looking forward to what's coming up with 2016 to see if anybody has a real plan. Whether it's Ted Cruz, Chris Christie, freaking Alan West, Bachman if she runs again. I hope not. Any of those guys, you got to have a plan. Nobody had any plans for anything other than, I think, taxes were the only thing anybody had a plan with. And even then, they were very vague as hell. Mm-hmm. And that's what lost, like we said before, Romney lost the election because his whole thing was Obamacare's evil, but I have nothing better. Okay. Now, I thought that, letting the people decide is very important for this. And one thing Obama made a point on was making it easier for people to vote. He said many states made it easier to vote, but he wants to make it even easier. Not quite sure how you can make it any easier than it already is. Does anybody complain about how difficult it is to vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
States,
I mean, you got early voting in most states. You got absentee ballots.
No. He's talking specifically about states that have enacted voter ID laws.
Yeah.
I agree with that. There's a big problem with voter fraud.
Exactly.
But
we've seen it.
But it's been exposed as a plot from the right to rig the elections.
Why? Because that makes people who don't have IDs not be able to vote?
Yeah.
And so all the people who don't have IDs only vote left?
No, but they don't need IDs. Okay, take Illinois. Illinois does not have voter ID voter ID laws. I can just go up to the ballot. I can say my name and get in. Right. Granted. Now I understand what's stopping somebody else from doing that. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Which they did do with what's his name? The Veritas guy did that with Eric Holder. He got Eric Holder's ballot in Washington D.C.
Okay.
He didn't use it.
Okay.
Because that would have been illegal.
Right.
But he did manage. I think we do need a system in which you verify IDs for voters.
But but there again is the.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There again is the argument. If you do that, you're going to disestablish minorities or people in poverty that can't afford to get IDs that still want to vote.
Wait,
yeah,
it's
$14
to get a state-issued ID.
Here's
that varies. That varies.
But wait, at the same time, though, I mean, if you want to get a job, if you want to contribute to society, you not every job is going to ask for ID unless you're working under the table, which goes against the whole system to begin with. So what you're saying is it's okay for people to live under the system and not pay any taxes, but they should be able to vote. That's basically what you're saying. I mean, you're not directly saying it, but that's what you're saying.
Well, okay, I will say it then. Voting is a right of every citizen.
Yeah, citizen, and guess what? Every citizen, if you get pulled over, or let's say if you're sitting on the side of the street, and say you're causing mischief or whatever, cop comes up to you. What do you think the first thing they're going to do after they ask what you're doing? They're going to ask for some ID.
Sure.
Now, if you don't have any ID, then guess what? There's a good chance they're probably going to arrest you, and then they'll look you up and everything. Well, not necessarily, but there's a good chance it'll happen.
Get you for loitering. Some municipalities actually have a law stating you need to have an ID on you when you're loitering around and crap. That's a weird ass law.
But the point is, you have to have ID. I don't care if you want to say you don't have to. Bullshit. Give me a scenario where you don't need an ID. Because here's the thing. You need an ID almost in every circumstance. If you want to buy cigarettes, get alcohol.
Sure.
If you want to, I mean, I could keep going on and on and on.
Okay. To be a functional member in society.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, nobody's saying that it's your right to buy alcohol, it's your right to buy cigarettes, or it's your right to get stopped by the police. But it is your right to vote.
No, your right to health care.
yeah, really. Yeah, no kidding. But I get what you're saying, Jerrid. It's just my point is that, if you think about it, yeah, there's the small part of it, which is it is saying, okay, it's putting a name, it's putting a face, it's putting all kinds of specific information to it.
Then here's what we should do.
For targeting purposes.
No. Then here's what the government should do. Solve the problem easy. Everybody has to register to vote, right?
Sure.
Yep. You register to vote, free of charge.
Mm-hmm.
ID card.
There you go.
A voter ID card. That's all you get. You don't need a license. All you need is a voter ID card that the government will provide you. Doesn't expire.
They've
talked about this in other states. A voter ID card.
That's a
Every
great
time you
idea,
register,
Matt.
you get the card.
That's a great idea.
And they fought that. Because then they're like, oh, then they know your name and who you are. You have to register to vote. They already know who you are.
That's true.
Exactly.
I think the left uses this, or I'm sorry, anyone who's against it, really vocal against it, really is, I hate to say it's complicit somewhat in the idea of voter fraud. Because you're, either side, because you're saying, because most of these people know that you can take these illegal people who are undocumented, whether they're illegal immigrants or citizens, but they're still people who go up, don't have documentation, that's why I say undocumented, can grab somebody's ballot who isn't going to vote, usually elderly people who can't vote because they can't get to the ballot or they don't do absentees, and vote for them.
Yep.
This happens. It's been documented.
Oh, yeah.
But by doing this card, just a free charge ID card, you lose it, you get another one. That will cost you. Don't lose the first one. You get an ID card every time you register, and there you go. Problem solved.
That's not a bad
Talked
idea.
about it, and they've still fought
Not a bad idea at all.
tooth and nail, because they're like, oh well, you're disenfranchising those that don't want to be in the system. You have to be in the system to vote.
Exactly.
What the hell are you bitching about? If you don't want to be a part of the system, fine, don't vote.
Well, I'm, and that's where I draw the line on my liberalism. I'm not hard left. I do disagree with the idea of voter ID laws, but if we had a system where, hey, I want to register to vote. Okay, thanks for your registration. Here is your ID card. Cool, thanks.
Oh, and here's your picture. We'll take it. We'll mail you a card or do something like that, like a DMV thing.
Yeah.
It's very simple. They have roaming DMV vehicles that do photo IDs all the time. You can do this thing very easily. Foot the bill. It's something that will prevent voter fraud and make things easier for people.
And
You'd
it's
win
cheap.
bonus points. And it's cheap.
It's cheap.
It's a piece of laminate and a picture. My God, I'm sure you can cut some stupid government program for masturbating monkeys and able to fund this damn thing.
That's the second time you said masturbating monkeys in the show.
There was they bitched about that in a recent article, and it was like, really, they spent like $3 million on this? Good God, government waste. Now, again, they talked about that. Obama brought up gun violence again. Oh joy, talking about how he wants to prevent another Sandy Hook. Now, we've talked plenty about gun violence lately. In the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, plenty.
But he's saying he'll do whatever it takes with or without Congress's approval.
Ooh, yeah.
This is one of the things where I went, no, you can't do that. No, you cannot give Congress the middle finger when it comes to gun laws, because this is because the Second Amendment is something that people are very adamant about protecting. A lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And this is not something you can just executive order through. Maybe you can get by with that with minimum wage for federal workers. That's fine, federal contracts. But not gun laws. What do you guys think?
I think something has to be done because Congress won't do shit.
Again, we're at a weird impasse with Congress. I agree. But at the same time, I don't think the president could go all dictator on this and say, fuck all y'all. That's not how our system works, unfortunately. We have a three-party system. Laws are made in Congress and are enacted by the president. The president cannot make laws, even through executive order, even though he'd like to think he can sometimes. That's a Bush joke. That's on Bush and Obama, by the way. Both of them try to do that shit.
Oh yeah.
So you can't do that. What do you think, Chris?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you know, there's a reason why the system is in place. We don't want any impartiality. We want it to be a fair situation, but at the same time, yes, things need to be done, and people need to get off their ass and get it done, and I think this is why it pisses me off, because it seems almost simple enough to where all they have to do, and just even for now, it's just heavily enforce the restrictions and laws they have in place already. And then
how are they not heavily enforced?
Well, they are now, obviously, because the press and media.
No, they weren't.
Not in some areas they weren't. That's why Jerrid's right in some instances. But the thing is that while they're doing this, there needs to be something laid down, some change that needs to be done to not I wouldn't say make it stricter and harder for people who are law-abiding citizens or what have you, but there need to be more rules created, added to the rules we have already. That, to me, doesn't seem like a hard thing to do.
You're a felon, you can't get a gun. You commit a crime with a gun, you can't have a gun. Other than those people...
Mentally disturbed?
Mentally disturbed, you can't get a gun. I mean, they're talking about if you have a family member who's mentally disturbed, you can't have a gun.
What? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, that was what they were talking about because of the was it It might have been Sandy Hook because the guy was mentally disturbed and he took the gun from his mother. That's where he got the guns from a relative.
Oh,
it was his mother.
Yeah,
well,
that's where that came up.
Well, then honestly, I mean that's kind of a good call. I mean, think about it.
But it was to the level of if you're on Prozac, you can't have a gun.
Okay.
A lot of people are on antidepressants for various things. I think
perhaps
there are varying levels of you shouldn't. If you're freaking, Norman Bates, you don't need a gun.
But you know what? Hold on. But you know something? I think the reviewer world can take a page out of this situation, where somebody with depression, if they have a gun, it's probably a bad idea.
Yes, and yeah, there are sadly tragic cases of that, of where people that I think you personally know of who have done that. I know people who have suffered from depression and have taken their life.
I think that at the end of the day, these rules are not exactly irrational. I mean,
no, but there's a very fine. But you're walking a fine line, because you could do this with the best of intentions, but it can be twisted and contorted to be something it was never intended to do.
Oh, absolutely.
You're if you get a president or a Congress that thinks, dictator, good idea. Everybody we need to find a way of getting rid of guns, which other countries have done. They will use the law of, people on depression. Guess what? Anybody on Prozac, or on an antidepressant, which is a good number, which is most of America probably at this point, is antidepressant drugs are so freaking over-medicated, it's insane. They'll say none of them can have guns. Or if you've ever been on Prozac, you can't have a gun. If you've ever been depressed, you can't have a gun. It's going to dangerous territories. But if they do want to enact laws where mental state or people with depression can't have a gun, there has to be some way you can appeal it, or some system that can accurately diagnose or determine whether or not you can have a gun or not. Or rather, you cannot have a gun. I mean, people have guns for a reason. There are tragedies that happen every day because of them. It's a fact.
Right.
But there are tragedies, they'll find other ways in which to harm themselves or harm others if they don't have access to weapons.
Sure, we're not saying that depressed person without a gun, they're safe. No, of course they're not. But that's one less avenue that they have to hurting themselves.
I agree.
No.
It's a slippery slope. Anything with the gun control is a very, very slippery slope. Because there are plenty of people in America that want nothing more than to completely ban guns in this country.
Now, to weigh in on the whole executive order thing, like I said, Congress ain't doing shit these days, and that's the thing. Obama wouldn't say this just because. Okay, Obama acknowledges the what Congress is doing these days, which is nothing. Okay, right. They just sit on their asses. They're just all about blocking Obama's stuff and.
Hey, to be fair, policies. The Democrats did the same shit with George W. Bush when he was in power. It's a game that's been played on both sides.
Yeah, and even Joe Scarborough, whenever he was in Congress during the Clinton administration. Yeah. But he even said that at the end of the day, that it never got as bad as it is now.
No.
That's
no,
true.
This
it is
is
pretty bad now.
I think we've gotten to the point now, and this is both sides. They've both gotten to the point now where the rhetoric has become insane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You know, before it was more like a professional wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like a real-life grudge match.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, there used to be a little... But they used to work together to get shit done. You know, you got Republicans wanting to do whatever... the House doing whatever it takes to shove it up the ass of the Senate and the President. And you got the President and the Senate that don't want to do anything for the House despite them because they're blocking anything they want to do. It's just insane. But I don't agree with using executive order as a bypass for Congress. If you guys can't get along, we're fucked. But that's how the system is set up. I'm sorry.
And
that's how the government is set up.
Well, the
It's set up
system's
that way
broken.
for a reason.
It's broken.
yeah, the system is broken, and I'm glad that we have this. I'm glad we have this kind of loop breaker. You know, otherwise we'd just be in an infinite loop. You know, hey, nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. Finally, we've got something. We've got something in the system where Obama can just be like, you know what?
There's no sense of decorum or respect left in politics. There used to be.
There used to be.
Used to be, regardless of who's president, you respect the guy.
Yeah.
I hate to say this. This started with Clinton. The lack of respect.
Yeah.
And got incredibly worse with Bush. And now it's to ridiculous, or even more ridiculous levels with Obama. Clinton, it started with the Lewinsky thing. That was a joke. Bush, the whole he should be brought up on treason charges and he's an idiot and all this other.
He is an idiot. He really is. I'm sorry, but he really is.
All right, I don't think anybody can be a complete idiot and become president unless you're Jimmy Carter. But
Yeah, exactly.
but you know, the rhetoric was really bad with Bush. Real bad. Worse than I've ever heard it with anybody up to that point. I think we can all agree with that.
I will say that after seeing the movie W, it definitely painted him in the light of he's not an evil man. That was Dick Cheney.
Oh yeah,
that was Dick Cheney. Yeah.
Karl Rove.
But
Karl Rove.
But
I'm good.
But
love that American Dad episode.
yeah, me too. But there was God, and now I just lost my train of thought. Oh, but
Careful, he'll shoot you.
yeah,
Dick
yeah,
Cheney's
but,
evil, right?
yeah,
Okay.
Dick Cheney's evil, but Bush was his idiot puppet.
Yeah. Or people that could argue Obama is Biden's idiot puppet.
No, God, no.
Then I'm like, no. Biden is Obama's idiot puppet.
Right.
Right.
Biden is Obama.
He makes Dan Quayle look like a freaking genius.
Oh no, I don't know if I go that far.
Hey, all Quayle did was screw up on spelling a word, even though it was the right way. It's just a different spelling.
What?
Biden? Oh God.
No, he didn't. How are you telling me there is a way? What the? Oh, okay.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay, good. I was gonna say.
But
are
still,
you kidding me right now?
You can't go into a 7-Eleven without having an Indian accent.
Oh God.
Tell the dude in the wheelchair to stand up for an ovation.
Oh, I remember that. That was funny.
Yeah, Biden is he's a minstrel show and everything.
He's a dumbass. I mean, there's no nice way to say it. He's a complete dumbass.
But yeah,
It's fucking huge. This is a big fucking deal.
Biden is political comedy gold.
He really is. Now, having said that, when it's time to get serious, Biden gets serious. Did you see the VP debate.
Yeah.
Dude
Yeah.
got serious. Dude was just like, yeah, and that's kind of the thing. If Biden really did run for president,
I mean, he'll be drunk most of the time.
He would.
I would be torn. I really would be torn with Biden because
I would never vote for
it's
the
like,
guy.
well, of course you're not going to vote for
No,
him.
I wouldn't. No, you know what?
But-
in all honesty, I would have voted for Hillary if she would have ran in place of Obama.
Really?
I might have voted for Hillary.
Would you vote for Hillary now?
Now depends on who she's running against.
Okay.
If I don't like if the Republican's a complete idiot and a dumbass,
Right.
probably not.
Right.
Oh, probably. I really can't. If a Republican that I do not like will get nominated, I don't know. I might.
Yeah.
Depends. I like if it was Hillary versus Romney, I might have still voted for Hillary. McCain would have been hard. I would have probably still voted for McCain because I was toting the party line back then.
Well, let's see. What was I gonna say? What were we talking about again? I keep losing my train of thought. Damn.
Biden runs for president.
Oh, right. Right. Well, Biden to me is like, whenever he's serious, it's good. But whenever he's not serious, it's like, dude, come on, you're on the clock.
Oh. Look, quit hitting the Jack and Cokes before we go do a speech. It's very advisable. Because I'm pretty sure he was drunk during the debates because he was slurring his speech pretty damn bad.
Oh yeah. Pretty.
But last topic of the night for the State of the Union would have been the war on terror. Obama brought up that he wants to close Gitmo. Okay, you've been promising that since you got in office, so will it happen? Will it not happen? I don't know.
Stay tuned and find out after this break.
Exactly.
Like Jerrid was saying, yeah. It's
Right.
crazy.
He said he wants to stop Al-Qaeda and those who support the terrorist agenda in Syria. Okay. Last time I checked, some of the rebels were Al-Qaeda members, but which side are you backing? Because there's Al-Qaeda fighting against the current regime in Syria, and that was what the big debate about was with us helping the Syrians. Okay. You guys thought?
Shit.
I don't know.
I thought we were done with the Syria thing, and he went and brought it up in his speech.
Wait, where? Hold on. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Chris,
go!
Yeah,
Okay,
go.
well, all right.
There's Al-Qaeda fighting the current Syrian regime, and he says we want to fight Al-Qaeda, but we want to fight against the bad stuff going Syria.
It's more political rhetoric. I mean, just, positioning, making them just a lot of blah, blah, blah to make himself sound good. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's,
There's another thing I felt that was more placation than anything of real substance in the speech.
right.
The usual playing to the crowd that I
Dude,
expect from those
yeah.
to be honest, I'm looking this over and I'm remembering this now. I think you're making this something into nothing.
It was a short sentence. So maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
He just kind of mentioned Syria in passing. He just mentioned Syria, just kind of like, oh yeah, we got these networks in Syria and Iraq and Mali and Yemen and it's like, and that's all he's doing. But he was really more talking about strengthening our defenses at home, fighting homegrown terrorism.
And the most important thing, which I think he finally acknowledged for what I think is the first time in a big way, the nuclear threat of Iran. He ignored it for the most part during the debates. In fact, he made jokes about it.
Would you say he ran so far away?
But he actually acknowledged that they are a problem and we will do whatever it takes to stop them. Whatever it takes.
Right.
And if he means it, good. Now, he did say that, and I agree with him, that we will use every diplomatic means possible before we resort to military action. Last thing we need is another war. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really says just nuke the shit or just bomb the shit out of them right now, except for really kind of, freaking, I want to bomb something, Republicans, and those guys are nut jobs. And no one's saying a complete hands off unless you're Ron Paul. But, he acknowledged it, and I got to give him credit for that. What do you think, Jerrid?
Well, I'm following along in the transcribe here, and I'm looking at the fact that he's acknowledging the progress we've made so far, and again, I think that I think just you said it best. I totally agree with what you just said.
And so, Chris, you got any comments on that?
It's pretty much said it. I mean,
so what did you guys think overall of the speech, Jerrid?
Like you said, liberals thought it was gold, and I'm right there. I think overall this was an ambitious attempt to get people together. Will it be effective? I doubt it, but only time will tell. I think really we're just we'll have to just wait and see what happens. I do think that people need to remember that these aren't lies per se. These aren't.
He's a politician. It's hard to say that.
Well, no, these aren't like promises per se. These are goals that he's setting, and these are ideas that he's pitching to Congress,
which is what most State of the Unions are all about.
Right. So really, at the end of the day, if something doesn't happen, it's not a lie. Okay, this isn't a situation where. Oh, hey, Obama said we'd have IRAs by now. Where'd those go? They
done took my retirement.
they took my job.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I think it's great. I also think that, like I said at the beginning, I think that Obama is back to his naive ways, and. Let's just.
Good thing or a bad thing?
It's in the past. It's proven to be a bad thing because all it did was just set him up for set the American people up for disappointment. So we'll see.
We call that the first term?
No, not the first term, but definitely the first 6 months.
First couple of years.
Yeah, first couple of years.
Chris, what'd you think?
I think it was just a bunch of gobbledygook. No, I'm kidding.
I expect that from you.
No, it's your typical, like you said, State of the Union. Our State of the Union is strong, and then insert
No, we
bullshit.
didn't say that, really.
He kind of reworded it, because that's Obama's thing. He likes to be different. If you didn't get the point before that he's different, being he's black and everyone else is white in the room, he wanted to make it a point, and cram it down his throat. I'm different, But it's just.
Oh, way to take that.
Well, anyway, but you get my point. I'm just saying that the whole thing. I mean, it's talking about a lot of stuff that he was kind of bold with, like Jerrid said, but it's all the same shit. I mean, he's doing the same thing he always does, which is just play up the crowd,
I think he had enough call-outs to he called about every person in the room.
Yeah.
At least 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that later. I said, I forgot a topic, the Michelle's health plan, but we'll skip that, the food plan. Pretty much I thought the speech was a combination of rhetoric and some goals that he set forward. I think he may be honest on some things, on others I do think he may be a bit disingenuous on. But for the most part, I think he really wants to try and make Congress work with him, which I'll give him credit for if that's what he's attempting.
Right.
Whether or not he does it, I don't know. I haven't seen him, outside of him doing other speeches in which he blames Congress for all the stall tactics. I haven't seen him really work hard with Congress on many things. That's also because of Congress's lack of working with him, but I'm not willing to say it's all Congress's fault. Obama had his fair share. Look at what happened with the healthcare debate behind closed doors, where they pretty much locked out the Republicans. We've seen it before. And I think that was kind of the start of the downhill with Obama. The ACA, when they originally were drafting it and the things they did to get it passed, that was kind of where Republicans just said there is no working with this guy. I don't think, and that's kind of where things really started going downhill. But at the same time, if it did start going downhill at that point, I expect them to try and pull the nose up on it before it got to this point. Right. Unfortunately, neither side decided to do that. They just decided to keep business as usual of blaming each other for it all. Obama didn't come out and say this after ACA that, oops, my bad, we should have been let them be more involved in it other than they were.
Excuse me. Yeah.
There were other legislations they tried to push through the similar way and was telling Congress to go fuck themselves. Again, I think Jerrid said it best, was his naivete that was kind of taking precedent over that. But he hasn't done that as much recently because he learned not to do that.
Right.
Something he did get better with. But unfortunately, the damage was kind of done. And I don't know if he can repair that or not. Congress may or the Republicans are all in fuck you mode, and I don't know if that's ever going to change with this administration or one anytime soon. Because unfortunately, when the Democrats take control of Congress again and the Republican becomes president, which is probably going to happen in the next election cycle in 2016.
I'm not looking forward to that. That next
gonna
election's going to be terrible.
In 2016, trust me, Democrats are going to take control of the Congress, and a Republican will be president.
Yeah.
The same exact thing will happen. And will we have a Reagan, or will we have a Bush? That's the question.
How about Democrats? What's the spectrum there?
For who's running?
I mean, like, will we have a Reagan or will we have a Bush? Okay,
well, if we get a Democrat, are we going to have another Obama, or are we going to have a Clinton? I will say this. I think Bill Clinton was a much better president than Obama was. Because Clinton had the experience necessary for the position. Obama did not. If Obama would have ran for president in 2016 and won, he would have been a much different president than he would have been when he ran in 2008.
Perhaps.
It would have been a much different administration. He would have had more experience and understand more of how it works. But he didn't have that.
But that Go ahead. I'll agree with you, but that was also his appeal. Was that he wasn't he wasn't part
of the system.
Right. He wasn't
Toad in the line or whatever. Party toad.
He wasn't part of the machine.
No. I'm looking for an actual word here.
Hope and change.
Just stop.
You're not helping, Matt. You're not helping.
A career politician.
Right.
He wasn't a career politician.
Yeah, he is. He hasn't been out of politics other than when he was a quote-unquote professor. He's been in politics pretty much his whole career.
I mean, but it's not like a long career.
No. He's nowhere near like Hillary or
right, and that's what I mean.
Romney or McCain or any of those guys.
Right, and that's what I mean. So that was really his appeal. So it's a double-edged sword.
I think that's what we're going to see with the Republican when the Republican comes up, and whoever gets the nomination, it's going to have to face off against there has to be somebody who has to be fresh and somebody who's ready for the fight. We haven't had that the Republicans haven't had that the last two times. We've had war horses that weren't able to keep up. Romney was a joke, and McCain was completely unprepared for what happened. He thought it was going to be a cakewalk. Hell, he chose Sarah Palin as his running mate, which I actually debate for another time, because I actually liked Sarah Palin when she was picked, and now I followed her before she got picked. But anyways, Obama's speech was fine. Was a standard State of the Union. I have my problems with it, but overall, if he does half the shit he says he does, I will give him kudos for it if he does it. Otherwise, I will. If he starts going back on it and doing the complete opposite, I will hold his balls over the fire like I usually do. Anything else you guys want to talk about tonight?
No, we're going on 2 hours here, so we need to, yeah.
Hey, it was a good debate, good discussions this
week. I guess, but I
got long-winded in a few things.
Oh yeah.
But I wish Deanna would have been here for the women part.
Right.
Well, I'm pretty sure when she comes back, she'll be like, "What'd you say about women in the workplace?" I'm sure she'll be.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'll hear something.
We'll be talking about that. All right, Chris, where can they find you?
Now, female listeners, pay attention.
Okay, you can find me at admiraljoker.com.
Yes, go to admiraljoker.com. Yes, please.
Or just look up a guy named Matthew Maciejewski. That's my code name. If it looks different, trust me, it's me. He
put on a few pounds.
Yeah.
And a wife and kids.
And also my cell phone, Matt. What's your cell phone number? Hold on.
813. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, he's pretty sure he'd kill me. Yeah. All right.
Jerrid, where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/JerridFoils.
And you can find me on Facebook at Matthew Maciejewski. You can also find me on Twitter at Admiral Joker. Be sure to visit our YouTube channel, at my YouTube channel, rather, Admiral Joker, for more shows and content. Also, be sure to check out arkham.dlink.ddns.com until I can get my domain name back.
Now, Chris, where can they actually find you?
Boy, you're just really pounding that in, aren't you?
He's good at that.
Jeez.
Pound that shit. Wait. Whoa!
Well, if you look up Chris Carty Kovacs, you'll find me. It's a picture of Cartman Hulk.
Same for no dying of fire.
Yeah, that's right. Dying of fire.
So you all have a good night and game on.
Game on.
Deuces.